Welcome back to this special edition of Hannity. The left, as you know, has repeatedly pushed the envelope. They continue every day in their never-ending culture war. Well, author Victor Davis Hanson has written a fantastic new op-ed where he called that war a, quote, full-fledged cultural revolution against traditional America. His closing sentence in the editorial is our first question tonight. Why are our government, corporations, and popular culture colluding in mass suicide to the delight of our enemies like Communist China? Victor Davis Hanson joins us now with more. Victor, why are those institutions colluding in America's, why do they want America's suicide?
I don't know exactly, but I think they feel that if they're correct ideologically, then they get a pass on every type of behavior, and that behavior leads to sort of the destruction of institutions, and that's not necessarily a bad thing because they feel America was flawed in its origins. So you take here in California, we're facing $32 billion in debt, Pete. Why would a council or commission on reparations say that we're going to get $800 billion? Why not $1 trillion? But to African Americans, when we were a free state, that's 8 generations ago. And then when confronted with those realities, the commission says, well, we're willing to take it on installment. Or I was just reading, we're looking up the tragic death on the subway, and I thought, wow, this guy looks like he's a career criminal that was killed. I thought maybe he had arrest of 5, 7. How does somebody in the criminal justice system have an arrest record of 40 arrests, including violent assault, lewd conduct? And then his uncle weighed in, and I thought, wow, he's weighing in support of his deceased nephew. Maybe he has a criminal record. He's been arrested 70 times. What kind of criminal justice system, I guess ideologically, just excuse felony behavior 70 times? Or we look at the border, I thought, wow, it might be porous. We might, under the Biden administration, have 100,000 or 200,000 illegal entries, but they just blew it up. It doesn't exist. We can't even imagine 6.5 million illegal entries. And we look at the Los Angeles Dodgers. Greater Los Angeles has probably got the largest city in North America of people of Mexican American or Central American or Hispanic heritage. The majority are Catholic. Most are still observant. Baseball, along with soccer, is the national pastime of the Spanish-speaking communities here and elsewhere. Why would the Los Angeles Dodgers, who depends on this constituency at a time when people are, audiences for professional sports are in decline, why would they invite the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence when their stock and trade is performance art blasphemy, simulated sex, pornographic attacks on the Trinity, the Catholic faith? What makes them do that? Is it they're hiring people out of MBA programs that are woke, or they don't care? But the general theme in all of these incidents is that certain people feel they can take it to the ultimate level to insult traditional America, and there's no consequences, whether Target or Disney or Bud Light. And you were talking about the FBI, Pete, but I thought maybe an FBI director might fib once, but how did Andrew McCabe lie 4 times? 3 times under oath? Or James Clapper lied about the NSA under oath, the head of the NSA, and he just simply laughed it off as, well, it's a least untruthful answer. Or John Brennan lied twice under oath, CIA director. And James Comey, I thought when he's in there and Devin Nunes and people are interviewing, he might claim amnesia 10 or 20 times, but 245 times? So what I'm getting at is there's an arrogance that people feel that they can say or do whatever they want because ideologically they feel they're protected or exempt. And even if that destroys these institutions, we've destroyed the FBI, the CIA, the IRS, corporate America, the border, and I think traditional ecumenical racial relations. And it just keeps going as if it's a Jacobin or some type of updated French Revolution. And I don't think we in traditional America understand what's going on. Our enemies do, and that's why I think they're delighted about it.
Well, that's why you mentioned Communist China. That's why, of course, they export TikTok to fill our kids' minds with nonsense and evil things, but won't allow their own kids in China to see those very same things. And fentanyl, I mean, you take your pick. These corporations, clearly they know these issues don't enhance their bottom line. Tucking it in at Target isn't going to bring in a new customer base. They're signaling. The government is protecting one political power. the cultural rot, I think, because Andrew Breitbart once said, you know, politics is downstream of culture. My pastor said culture is downstream of religion. I mean, what you believe in, what you have faith in informs the culture you have and ultimately the politics that unfold. Where between culture and religion or faith, because this feels like a religious belief amongst those on the left, very different form of religious belief. Where does that come from, and how do we confront it?
Well, I think if you're an agnostic or an atheist, you're going to invent your own gods. And that's sort of a trope of philosophy. And they've invented these woke gods. For some, it's Mother Earth or a green deity. For some, it's redistribution or a woke goddess. And they feel that they have all the fervent belief of a true believer. And they're intolerant in a way that, you know, a fundamentalist can be. And if you don't believe in transcendence, and they don't, then you have these material gods, and they're political, and they're not forgiving. And so what they do is, if you're a true believer in the left, they feel that certain privileges accrue to them. They're exempt from the full force of the law. They're able to go into a cake person and say, you're going to bake this cake no matter if it's against your religion, but that wouldn't be occur to us. You can't do that back to us. Or if you're, you know, Mr. Mulvaney, he wasn't really pushing Bud Light. I don't think he ever had a Bud Light in his life. The point was he was trying to show transgenderism and push it down the throats of Americans, just like female sports. We had 50 years of feminists trying to get equity for women, and all of a sudden we have biological males that are cleaning up and destroying records of women and having an unfair advantage, and they've done more damage to female equity than 100 years of chauvinist male pigs in sports. And no one says a word because ideologically that's considered an exempt group. But everybody knows that if you're a male and you transition to female, you're going to have a biological advantage. But on the other hand, they tell us, no, that you're purely female. But then we know the traditional American says, yeah, but men that transition to women don't clean up. Women that transition to men don't clean up in men's sports. There is a difference. There's a biological difference. So it just falls on deaf ears. So I think we're in America, look at all of these things, and we think, this is not the old politics. This is not the in party, the out party, the left, the right. This is something new. This is beyond the 60s cultural revolution. This is kind of like Maoism, where it's totality.
Yes.
They want to go into every aspect of our life, private life, economic, political, social, cultural, and change it, and ideological. And they're going to reward people who follow that, and they're going to punish people that say, not this pig, I'm not going to do it. And that's what we see with all of your stories this evening. Mike, go ahead. With Matt Taibbi, the same thing. They're saying to him, you're an apostate liberal, you're going to be published, you're going to be punished.
If you're a secular zealot and that is your religion, it's a zero-sum game, which means the ends justify the means, which means you destroy corporations that give people jobs, you destroy institutions that used to give equal justice in service of that religious zealotry. And where the carnage leads, nobody knows. Nobody clarifies it better than you, Victor Davis Hanson. Thank you for your time. We appreciate it.